I'm also interested into more about what you do as well.
Yeah. Oh,
So
I guess I'll like introduce like my work a little bit. But
sure.
yeah, so like at school, like I learned a bunch of different stuff. A good part of my major, like we get exposed to so many different mediums,
Uh-huh.
like from graphic design to like sound to coding. Like you can like learn whatever you want. But then what I ended up like focusing in on like near like the end of my education was like I found myself at really loving like these immersive experiences. So, like basically like all I just was talking about. And I often say like my interest is like immersive experiences or like experience design or
Yeah.
also like interactive technology. So like with Harvey's class, like last year, that's when I started learning touch designer a lot more. And I've been trying to like keep myself going in terms of like staying warmed up with the program and stuff. So that's like where my sort of interests are. Like the projects I've done recently that I feel like reflect that more are last semester I worked with like a big team. Like I with like three other like co-directors. But we
Mm-hmm.
did like an immersive fashion show
Oh.
um with like projection mapping, and it was like kind of like a performance. It was like a show performance, not really like a fashion show to display like the clothing.
Yeah.
Um, but we had like a whole set design. We had like a storyline almost. We marketed it as like this high end like fashion show, very like minimal,
Oh,
super
that
like
sounds
pretentious a
cool.
little bit.
I like
Um,
that. Yeah.
but then our intention was that for the show to like talk about like overconsumption and fast fashion, and how it's very like wasteful, but also like it's a lot about like quantity over quality. So
Mm.
then as the show goes on, like over time, like the music starts to get like begins to can become like more distorted, and then like the clothing pieces like start falling apart, and then
Oh.
the performers become more like erratic. And we had like a choreographer work with them to like because these weren't like actors or dancers, but they did such a good job regardless. But we like, it was like a bunch of students still. And then like the set was falling apart as well.
Whoa.
That was like a year-long project, and it was so much fun. I did like the marketing for it, but
Yeah.
also was creative directing, like obviously like everything with all the other directors,
Yeah.
but with the tech side and the projection artists. But yeah, that was like a big project, and like that was like really fun for me. And then I just finished my senior thesis project,
Yeah.
but I created an installation called JIMB-bot, JIMB-bot.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of like it is also this like imaginary like world that I created where it's like a slightly like adjacent reality to ours. And in this like maybe dystopic reality, there's like the service called JIMB-bot, which is like a chatbot that companies can employ or like bring on board to
Okay.
test their employees like productivity and time efficiency. And like this would be like an annual or like monthly thing that like employees have to go do, and then they get their results taken out, and then like goes to the company, and then it's super like systematic and very like dystopic in my mind. Uh,
Huh.
so then the actual installation itself is like a website that I made where people get to talk to JimBot, but it's like a mock-up of like if you were an employee and you were going to get your this like evaluation, like what the experience would be like.
Ah.
I set it up in the our exhibition space, so like people could. It was like a waiting room. Like you'd come in, and then there were like brochures, and then you would wait for your turn, and then you take the, like you talk to Jimba on the computer, and then you get your like results printed out at the end on this printer that I managed to like figure out how to connect everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me
Yeah.
share my screen here, and then I think we can also look at it together. Okay. Oh, you get your employee code.
Yeah, and it was fun because for my friends, I made like custom ones with their names on it.
Ah. Oh wow, it's like very like how do I say? It's like very professional project.
Thank you. Yeah, it was
This is a school project?
yeah, senior thesis.
Wow. I
On
mean, the quality of like, this whole like the design things, like elements are like
oh,
I'm
thank
not
you.
It looks like a professional advertising promotional event.
That's the goal. I was trying to make it like super like office.
And even like this video documentation is also like very professionally done.
Yeah, I'm very grateful. Like a lot of students from the year below, like they were taking videos for us. Yeah,
Ah.
I'm glad to have like really good documentation.
Welcome to the JIMB-bot testing facility. All movements are being monitored for your safety. Your cooperation ensures
Yeah, and then that's like the
for all.
report you get with your like
And please remember, time is
ranking.
a resource.
So like, do you do some tasks like to get those rankings?
Well, it's kind of just like a survey, but instead of like filling it out, you're talking to JIMB-bot. So the questions are just sort of like, oh, well, like, how do you categorize your time every day? Is it like by meaningful moments or like how productive you were? Or like how many times do you like check your clock every day? So very like the questions themselves aren't like crazy.
Okay.
But I feel like I was trying to like focus in. The language of JIMB-bot is very like dystopian, very like corporate mean.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I was just trying to get across the idea like because my personal interest in this was that I feel like I don't like how we think about time, and I feel like the idea of time is it's formed by like our perception of it, and it's not like something that is actually like a clock or like minutes or like the calendar. It's like much bigger than that, but that's the only way we can think of it because of like how society is structured right now.
Yeah.
So I was like trying to be very like satirical and make it so like this is how we think it is, but like, and then I guess to create like another layer to the story, like the QR codes at the bottom, like were printed on the back of the reports, and it was like this sort of like resistance had like vandalized this property, and it just goes to like a website that has like a manifesto written on it, and it's like just some, it just says like, why do we have to like listen to them, like time isn't really this, like that sort of stuff.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I over last week I made it work on just online, so there's a link. It should be above.
Oh, I can play JIMB-bot myself.
So yeah, if you go to the top description, it's like, oh, I don't know why the link is whited out. I think I have to fix that. It's in the description. It's the weird blank space. I think there's a link.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this is such a wow. That's like a hidden.
I'll have to fix that.
Hidden portal to get to the JIMB-bot. Okay. JIMB-bot is a state-of-art chatbot designed to help determine time optimization, tied and present perception diagnosis. Let's seriously start. This is kind of a timely topic. I just actually started thinking about my time management. I don't like just squishing more in my time, which feels exhausting. My name is Aki. Try to meet the bare minimum expectations. What percentage of your daily schedule is dictated by external deadlines, alarms, or societal expectations? I think it's different day by day, maybe like that. Half control, half chaotic. That sounds about right. True liability in the making. How many hours per day do you dedicate to activities? It's measurable outcomes. Measurable. 68 hours? Am I a good employee? No, standard performance. Okay. You get to keep your seat at table for now. Okay, oh, that's good. How do you maximize or optimize your time? Try. Oh, this is my mantra.
Say no to things.
Yeah, I'm kind of a very nice person, so I tend to say yes, but over time I learned like power of no. Okay, response recorded. Need to judge whether it's actually optimized or just desperate attempts. How often do you feel guilty for time in a single day? I don't know if I ever feel guilty. Oh, occasionally. A mild sense of shame could be worse. How many times a day do you check the time via clocks, phones, or other devices? I don't even know. I'm not crazy about time. Like, I actually don't check my phone that often, probably this many times, subconsciously. Finally, yeah. How do you differentiate between productive and non-productive activities in your personal life? The border between is very blurred to me. Okay. When you reflect on your day, do you categorize it by meaningful moments? Of course. What am I talking to? Is this like AI I'm talking to?
Actually, the secret is that there's actually no AI.
Oh, really? Yeah, this is cool. Honestly, I'm so impressed.
Yeah.
This is like so nice looking already.
Thank
It's
you.
really cool concept and yeah. Wow.
Yeah, this is the ranking. I'm not sure if the results will show up though.
I wonder if I made it. Oh, there are many people out here.
Yeah, this is just people who also took it during.
Yeah,
Mission.
that's good. There's a
Oh,
ah, here I am.
120.
Am I like a mediocre?
Oh, look, you're right above Harvey.
Where?
Right there.
Oh, Happy Moon. Wow, this is fun. So did you program?
Yeah, this was all from scratch.
Wow,
It was very scary.
good for you. And then you worked with like also many other teammates, or it was kind of your thing?
This one was an individual project.
Oh, so you kind of did it all of this?
Yes.
Wow, that's cool. Good for you. And then what about this kind of scenic setups?
Oh yeah. I think scenic setup was also just myself. A lot of the
Okay.
furniture, like some stuff I didn't have like a say over, like the tables and like
I
the
mean,
chairs.
it's a
just like
school,
what was
well, it's a, it's a
Right.
corporate office, right? So yeah, you can say much.
I asked for like these computers, and then I actually got the old like MacBook keyboards and mice because I thought they would be fun. And then I got like all those business cards and stuff printed.
Amazing. I'm sure it was a lot of work. How long did it take for you, like from like initiation to, the execution?
The story is actually really funny because we have like the whole like senior year to work on it.
Uh-huh.
But then I had like a completely different idea like during the fall semester.
Yeah.
And then after I finished fall semester, I was like, this is like I hate this. Like I don't project. Like I don't like how I feel about it. And I was like on the plane flying home like after school ended, and like on the plane I came up with like this new idea. So it was probably from January to May was like the whole timeline.
Oh, interesting.
And
Wow.
most of it was like working on the website.
Yeah. And then like, what exactly kind of software do you use for programming this one?
This one for the website, it's just all HTML, CSS, and like vanilla JavaScript. Maybe jQuery. And then when it was like in person, the printing, I used Python and a couple different Python libraries to get the printing to work.
Wow.
Because I had a hidden computer that was like, oh, and then the database is stored using Firebase, like the
Uh-huh.
Google. So then the Python was like taking the new results from Firebase and like plugging it into like a template and then printing it to the printer.
Wow. I am fascinated.
Thank you.
I need to introduce you to definitely our creative tech people because this is kind of what we do.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. No, seriously. Yeah. Seriously, I don't know on top of my head, like, yeah, often, we want to have some memento, like a takeaway. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, there were numerous times, we kind of have to figure out what printer to use and like kind of hack it. And then, yeah, like printing something for the event and that for people to take with. But yeah, in general, yeah, this is kind of like exactly what BT Pro's creative tech team does very well. And
That's so nice to hear.
it's I think like it changes every project, right? Like hardware is not always the same, or like what they are trying to do is like always like kind of special. But yeah, it really shows that you you got to figure out, and that's super cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, I think it was a challenge for me as well because I think we don't get taught like we get taught a lot of things, but like not always to like the highest level because it's not a specialized like.
Oh.
So it was like kind of intimidating. Like I was also like self-learning, especially like the Python was like pretty
Uh-huh.
unfamiliar. Like yeah, like I'm kind of like intimidated by I guess new softwares or more like I always feel like there's something that like other people use that I don't know about.
You know, there's always stuff, but yeah, you can't know everything. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, like people who's good at figuring out, people who work in creative tech pretty much. I think it's more about, yeah, this motivation or like desire to figure things out. So I
Yeah.
feel like as long as you have that, no, I don't think you have any problem.
Yeah.
I use
Yeah,
so many softwares too, but so sometimes I might use Unreal Engine, sometimes I use Touch Designer,
Right,
Houdini, Maya, Cinema 4D, and it never
Yeah.
ends, and sometimes
Yeah,
I
it's
even
so
use Blender.
yeah, it's so funny because I was like, oh, I really want like my thesis to be like super cool and I'm gonna do it in Touch Designer.
Yeah.
But then I came up with this idea and I'm like, this doesn't use Touch Designer at all. But I'm like, I need this idea to like work out like how I envisioned it.
Uh-huh.
And like I had such a hard time with the printing, but I was like, I knew like I wanted it. Like I wanted it so bad. Like for there to be a printing
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
like
yeah.
towards it. And then so I like spent so long like figuring it out. Like I can't say I completely understand what I wrote, but
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
works.
You
So,
know, as long
that's
as
all
it
that
works.
matters.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good. That's good for you. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, like this, so I think like you can always keep this open, but like say someone like you, Tina, like you have so much, like you almost like you creative directed it, you made a concept, you did the design, and then you even like programmed yourself, and this makes me wonder. I mean, you don't have to decide that you're gonna do one thing. It's nice to be able to do multitude of things, but where I guess you have so much time to think about this, but like where currently do you dream to go? Like, do you wanna be like a self-contained artist? Like,
Right.
for example, like Memo Acton? Like, I'm a big fan.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, like I almost think of like works like he would do, like he's a coder himself, but it's also like art, like has a concept. So you could become someone like who can kind of have a whole idea to yourself and execute to yourself, maybe with help of a team. Or you could also like think of work at place like VT Pro. But like if you do, like do you wanna be doing concept or do you wanna be doing the coding?
Right.
And
Yeah.
again, you don't have to decide, but often, yeah, that's also even like we have a hard time, because like so people have so many different skill sets and it's hard to categorize, someone
Yeah.
to like
Yeah. I completely
certain
agree.
divisions. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually exactly what I've been thinking about recently. Because also like post grad, like looking for jobs, like I think I realized that I realized it's really just all like different categories. Like someone who's really good at this, and I feel like I had a hard time being like what you said. Like I enjoy like a lot, like every part of the process, or I feel like I have like, I guess like you could call it like a general like skill and like all of them.
Yeah.
But then I was also like asking myself like, oh, like yeah, like I don't really know like where in the process, because in a much bigger production, like it's like it's obviously like separated. It's not like one person doing everything.
Definitely.
So I
Yeah.
was asking myself a lot of the same questions.
Interesting.
And I haven't figured it out. I think I really enjoy the conceptualization, but I guess I don't know, out of my own like experience or like with just like seeing stuff productions and like witnessing like team dynamics, like I feel like I wonder is that's like a thing that most people like work up towards. Like I'm not sure I see many like right out of school people like doing like the concept, rather they're doing more of like the technical stuff. Or like what is like I guess what was also your experience like
Oh,
moving from like an artist into like
yeah. That's an interesting question. So yeah, I think, well, I've been working at VT for like 10 years, so I don't have too much other places experience
No,
besides,
it doesn't need to
you know,
be.
I know Harvey, I know Q, you know, as I only see from the outside, but I have general idea. I think no one really starts with like immediately, you know, directing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to kind of like learn starting from either a designer, or if you're gonna go into like a creative coding or creative tech field, I don't know, a creative technologist. Maybe that's kind of like where you start. And then usually, you know, somebody will kind of like at least guide you to like what you will be creating, or like
Mhm.
what project you're working with in terms of the client and everything. So I think that's usually where you would start. And then, you know, as the time goes by, like you kind of understand how it goes. So, you know, for your project, like, you know, if you join as a designer, you might be creating more like a initial pitch design and like coming up with
Right, yeah.
concept and, you know, making stories and creating presentation to present that to the client. So that's kind of like how creative probably would go at the pre-production. And then, and if that goes into production, then probably as a creative, you would be probably doing a lot of, yeah, like environmental design, what the chairs and tables are, making rendering, and then what the graphic looks like, you know, which you have wonderful graphics, but, you know, you need to send it to the print vendor and whatnot. If you, and then, you know, you can probably imagine if you go into creative technologist route, then you would be, yeah, pretty much somebody will tell you that, hey, we're going to use this printer, figure out like how to print everybody's response, blah, blah. And then, yeah, I think either way, I think you will be more like kind of hands-on, I guess, like you're
Yeah,
actually
I like that approach.
creating, you know, it's a fun time. And yeah, and as you get really good at being able to follow those directions and being able to deliver something that's useful in the production, then obvious kind of next step is to, if you are interested, like you can kind of start directing like art direction or directing several designers to do that.
Right.
Or if you're a technologist, I don't know, you might be more like managing series of these creative technologies to execute things. But that said, you know, I still, you know, still get to make things sometimes. And
Yeah.
and although, you know, I still also do a lot of client
Yeah.
presentation, talking, working with the team to make things happen. But yeah, I think it's kind of different, I guess, which environment, a studio you go. Maybe some studio might have a little bit more distinct role. Whereas I think VT Pro, depending on the project, like sometimes I could be a creative director on one project, but another project I could be more like a touch designer programmer. So yeah, there's a lot of flexibility there.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds like so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to be somewhere like that. Like
Yeah.
I think it's the like one thing I like fear the most is like where I just do one thing forever.
No. Oh, you mean like to get good? You mean to get good at, or?
Or like I guess my biggest fear is like I guess it's not maybe it's not my biggest like fear like ever, but I would be like I think if I was working on like one aspect, like I'd have so much interest in, you know, more than that one part of the production.
Right. I can already tell from just this small sample of the project that you have done. Yeah, I think definitely keep that in mind. But you know, you can always go into like one, for example, designer, or like go into one creative technologist and then work on a few projects with that role. But you can always like jump or like expand or do both. I think that's really possible. But I think that's why, like maybe, you know, even I hope you find a job, and I hope I can help you in some way.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you will have no problem. But yeah, like even you find a job, and that might, you know, start with either designer or creative coder or maybe assisting art direction or something, right? Which might be a kind of like one of many things you want to do, but you can always keep that what you're trying to do, your side, your own
Yeah.
project, which you can do it all. And I think that always kind of like worked good for me. Like I always did my own art project, which forces me to do sort of everything. But I can kind of do more work/commercial project that I might focus more on just creative direction. Then, you know, you can really hone your skill in certain things that way because you are more focused. So yeah, I don't think you need to worry too much about you will get cornered into one thing. But I think it's important to voice that is your desire, that
Yeah,
you want to
right.
experience different things, and make sure, the studio that you find that you want to work for, let you, encourage
Yeah.
that aspect. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. And usually in our company, creative producer is someone who will be thinking of, okay, like maybe have Aki hop on this project next because she was saying she's interested in doing more as
Right.
designer, Yeah. So it's always good to communicate like where you want to go because,
Right. Oh, that's a
people
that's
can't
very
really
good.
guess. Yeah.
I guess on that topic, I'm curious, like I guess like how you view, I don't know if that's the right word, but like how you balance or view like your own like artist's work versus like your work as like a at VT Pro. Like what is your like how does that like settle itself like in your life, or like how do you see those differently or like similarly maybe?
Yeah. That's a fun question. Yeah. Luckily, like my work at the VT Pro is so much fun that it's like so similar to what I do on the
Right, yeah.
me as an artist. So, but I get to what I like about is like, I got to do something I wouldn't do otherwise myself. BT Pro has a lot of robots and like working on like a really big activation that includes environmental design, creative tech, and then we get to do animations and real-time graphics. So it's just like the scale and as well the client base is like much more catering mostly on more sort of promotion and advertisement of like big brands. Yeah, so it's just kind of very different in nature where I get to do sort of like large budget with longer maybe time period with so many team members across different departments. It's kind of like, what I get to do on the work. But when I do my own artistry, it's a lot like a smaller team and it's mainly me and but I do collaborate a lot with like maybe somebody supports production or somebody who might support some programming and whatnot. But yeah, it's kind of like a much more concept driven in
Right.
terms of like the concept that I want to seek for my kind of interest, which is like usually nature, light, and yeah, there's just like something that just like makes me really resonate. Yeah, so I kind of like enjoy that contrast, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. Like, yeah, I think also another thing, like my friends and I, like we're thinking about like a lot, especially like in senior year, was like how do you work with your own like practice, I guess, or like study of the arts, and like how some people like get all of it, during their like job, but some people like do it completely like different from their job. Or I think we were just talking about it, and it's very interesting to see like
Yeah.
how many different people balance that in their lives and try to figure out like how we want to do it as well. It's a very like interesting question that's like always trying to be figured out.
I think at the end of the day, I like that. Like I've worked with so many coworkers in the past, and animators, designers, and I like that. No matter what project you work on as commercial, no matter what you do, like everybody have some sort of styles, whether you like it or not. I think that's the whole point of like style. That kind of like it's just like you can't get rid of it. It's like emerges from you. Like I can name a few, like my, like I used to work with a designer. His name is Jordan. He's also from USC, and he's really great. Jordan Ariel. We used to work together, and then yeah, like his style, my style, completely different. And so we used to make a lot of music visuals, and then we always laugh because we can tell Jordan made this one. Yeah, we are working for same musician. So, we are still working for the musician's sort of vision and the style. But somehow it just like shows up. Like Jordan makes something, it's usually like this, I don't know, sci-fi and like, very like guy, man.
Yes, the guy.
Yeah. And then like, we always laughed at like there used to be like Tyler and Haley who I used to work with. And everybody have kind of this like color scheme that they tend to go like, whatever Tyler makes, it's always like, for some reason, it's kind of this purple and green, magenta,
Yes, yes, I know.
And
I know
Hailey,
people who do that.
Hailey's a primary color girl, so she's like yellow, red, blue, and I think I like
Yeah, that's so
rainbowy
fun.
prism like colors. Yeah,
That's
I
so
think,
yeah, that's so fun.
yeah. So I think just more you make, no matter what you do. That's what's wonderful about being an artist. Where like it just like starts to emerge. This your personal
It just
style.
comes out. You can't stop.
Yeah, you can't get rid of it. Yeah. So you can't
Aw.
really fake it. Like, it's not something like, we always start with copying like somebody's style, but like, eventually that becomes your thing anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm also like seeing that happen now. Like in high school it's like so much harder. Or like
Yeah.
even before you're like, all I can do is copy. Like I don't have any original ideas. But like I'm like, I can. It eventually just comes through. Like the more you
Yeah.
do, like yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Actually, like I saw you posted your recent work at the art festival in Russia.
Oh, yes.
Was it?
Yeah,
Yes. Oh
intervals.
my goodness, that was so beautiful. I really enjoyed your
Oh,
concepts.
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, it reminded me of this one experience I went to. Very different and like very corporate, or not very corporate, but it's like a bigger production. But this was actually like the experience I went to that made me realize like this is what I want to do.
Oh, yeah, Moment Factory, 100%. Yeah, I love
They have this
Lumina.
one experience in Whistler, in like by Vancouver, which is where I'm from, and they had these like beautiful like lights. It was like a storytelling, like immersive, like walk through the forest,
Yeah.
and it was so interesting because they were like telling a story of like this meteor, like kind of like out of this world,
Mm-hmm.
and then like when they combined like the tech, like the lights and the sounds and the projections in the forest, it was like so magical.
Oh, I love Lumina. Yeah, this is like where I just love most. I like many things, but because I like
Yeah.
nature and like this is like kind of really the pinnacle of like what I like. Yeah.
Yes, because it's so, and I think it's so like, it's also like the details, like hiding the projectors, like so it just feels like magic. It doesn't feel like it's technology, like just put
Yeah.
onto like the trees and stuff.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
You know,
I heard they
yeah.
opened one in LA, but I haven't been.
I went to one in LA, but that was two years ago, I think. But
Oh,
yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
yeah. Also, there's have you been to like Descanso Garden? They do.
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
Oh,
like a
so-
winter lights. Yeah, festival.
Oh, I haven't gone to the winter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I want to do more is kind of public light festivals in different cities. And I think it starts to become really popular thing. I think it's really great that we see more of that.
I really enjoy like bringing like the public, like like more like cool like events like this. Because I
Yeah.
feel like it's, even though maybe it's like simple, like I feel like it brings so much more to like the normal like person who like isn't like creative or maybe like doesn't
Right.
but I feel like it adds so much like more, like it helps them like drive their like imagination that I feel like a lot of people like have lost,
Definitely.
like in the way like the world currently works.
Yeah. And it's also often also like a public, citywide event. It's like more accessible. Like you don't really have to be invited or have to
Right,
buy
yeah.
ticket often. Like you can just go to a park and it's there. And then that's
Yes.
I love too. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to love going in high school because you're like, it's like no tickets, you can just go with your friends.
Yeah. And all ages. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes like the city just have more community as well.
Yeah, I love it. I hope you get to do all these things, which is exciting.
Thank you. I hope so. I know I will eventually. I'll work my way there.
Yeah. I think the time
Yes.
time is like reaching again, but
No worries.
yeah. Well, thanks so much for all of your time and talk and amazing
Yeah,
work
and
because this
thank you
is
so
so
much.
exciting. Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
I'm so
I
amazed.
feel so honored to be able to talk to you. That was
Oh,
you
thank
said
you.
such-
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, this also helps me. Yeah, a lot. And I feel very energized to hear. Yeah, you are interested in so many things, which is like really cool.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I
Awesome.
don't know when the timer is gonna run out.
No. Yeah, I think it's
Like-
very soon. Like I'm surprised. Like
Yeah.
we did 2 sessions of like 2 Zooms, so it's like 80 minutes total.
Yeah.
Thank you as well. Yeah,
Yeah, it
and
was so nice talking to you.